Well, those swanky old sellers from the King's Road may have done it again, ladies and gentlemen. Chelsea could be selling Joao Felix, not just for a book profit after a year he's been at Chelsea as returned, but indeed a small transfer profit if you include perhaps the loan fee we got from AC Milan. How are we doing it for these players that are not rated but preferred by Chelsea, making profits all over the gaff? It's crazy. It's crazy. We've seen it with previous transfer windows, making big money on this, the likes of Havertz and Mount and all these kind of players. But indeed, this window already, huge profits from Petrovic, huge profits from Noni Madueke to Arsenal. We're expecting the same from Vega. Other players being sold in between, finding a way to get money for Kepa and even Raheem Sterling. That's the dream, isn't it? People like Nkunku garnering a lot of interest. These are the players, excuse me, we were worried about going into this transfer window. And it all kind of seems to be, going okay. So we're going to speak about this Al Nassr story of Joao Felix. We'll also talk about Nicholas Jackson, possibly to Newcastle, which kind of makes a lot of sense if you think about it and reflect on it, guys. I've got a stiff neck. I moaned about it yesterday. I didn't sleep well. I haven't been awake for long. But you know what? I'm here for you, mate. I'm always going to be there. I'll be there. Here for you. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for locking in. If you want to show some love, drop a like on the video. And yeah, man, I appreciate you subscribing if you want to. Hitting the bell if you choose to. Let's get into it. Alright, so though he's not on Raheem Sterling wages, heck, I don't even think he's on Christopher Nkunku wages, he is on a little bit of money, Joao Felix. He's not on as little as, I don't know, Cole Palmer. Somehow Cole Palmer's still one of our not high paid players. He's got a pay rise from 70k a week to 120k a week, Cole. But I think Joao Felix is probably closer to the 180 that Moises Caicedo's on. I'm just going to sip my coffee. Anyway, certainly not priced out of a move to go to the Saudi Pro League. This came from multiple sources. Fabrizio Romano had spoken about how Chelsea are in close negotiations. Matteo Moretto, Italian journalist, I believe, Italiano, Spanish, possibly, a journalist from the continent. Joao Felix is close to Al Nassr. Sky Sports saying that we're close to agreeing a deal worth around £44 million. I think we bought him for 45. Selling him for 44 would be a book profit anyway after a year on this contract. Plus, of course, we made a little bit of money from Milan from a loan. Mental, really, how we managed to get this done. Joao Felix is keen on the Al Nassr move and has opened the doors. He is excited to play again, or to play not just his national team, but to play with Cristiano Ronaldo. The green light has been given. Now, this is really important, guys, because for me, getting Al Nassr to say, yeah, we'll buy Joao Felix off you, Chelsea, was not the hard part. Chelsea have got a relationship with the Saudi Pro League, with the Public Investment Fund, for better or for worse. Have your own geopolitical opinions on that. And of course, when we first got going, after we sold Edouard Mendy and Koulibaly over there where we needed to make some quick cash. It was Todd Bowley, I think, that flew out there. Anyway, we've got a relationship with the Saudi Pro League, the Public Investment Fund. Just as pertinently, we have a relationship with George Mensch. The super agent, of course, represents Joao Felix. Now, we wouldn't have started talking with the Saudi Pro League, like, can you come and give us loads of money for this guy, if we didn't get a whiff from the agent himself, Mendes, that this would be a feasible deal to complete. Yeah? You wouldn't just be like, yeah, we're going to sell Joao over there because we get loads of money. No, he wants to go. He'd need to want to go, rather. And yeah, I'm very mindful that I do feel a little bit bad for him. It would have been a nice story to go to Benfica, a homecoming. But you know what? What's best for Chelsea? That dinero, man. L'argent. I don't know what it is in Portuguese. Let me just check. Oh, it's similar to Spanish, funnily enough. Dinheiro? How do you say it? Let's have a look. Dinheiro. There you go. So, obrigado for the dinheiro. Oh, my neck, man. I was such a stiff neck. I've made too many jokes about getting Viagra stuck in my neck and now I've got a stiff neck. That's proper, like, 1980s hack comedian move, but here we are. Yeah, man, so look. Great. It is a problem solved, I must say. Should it happen, of course. It apparently is close. It's close. He wants to go to play with Ronaldo. The green light has been given. Obviously, he's going to make a lot of money. They're hijacking the Benfica move, so even if something goes wrong here, there is still the Benfica landing spot for Joao Felix, which is a nice thing. And man, yeah. There's weeks left in the transfer window. Players are being sold. Players are being purchased. We're still waiting for the confirmation on the double Dutch, which we believe is going to happen. Of course, I'm following that story closely here on the channel. Sur le chaîne, as they say in the motherland. And yeah, let me know what you think about Joao Felix to Saudi Arabia. Just before we wind down, it would be a little bit of a shame. Now, I'm not going to, whatever about the Saudi Pro League. Al Hilal really, really impressed in the Club World Cup. They represented their league well. As much as I've got, my own, again, geopolitical opinions on sports washing, soft power play, and all that other malarkey, I do think, the Saudi Arabia does have a rich footballing culture. They always have. I was using this as a reference when there was the Qatari World Cup. There's no footballing culture out there. They built loads of stadiums. They collapsed it as soon as it was done. It was like crazy spend and, carbon footprint, yada, yada, yada. There's a huge footballing culture in Saudi Arabia. And yes, I'll always take seriously the stuff in the background. There was recently an excellent athletic piece and podcast on what Saudi are doing in the West for soft power play and, not just golf and F1, but like mainly football as well. I'd urge you to check that out if you're interested. But ultimately, for the player's sake, I hope he does really well. I hope he has a good time. He's going to make loads of money. He'll probably, speaking to Martinez, will you still call me up for the Portugal national side? Maybe because the Portuguese FA is probably headed by Cristiano Ronaldo. He's probably got Ronaldo's assurances. Yeah, I'll come play with you. I'll make your team better. Can you make sure they still call me up for the national team? Anyway. Another one bites the dust. Or at least probably. Right, so where are we next? Apart from Al Nassr, we are going to speak about one that I've been saying to a couple of Newcastle United fans before this went into the media. And I said, Nicholas Jackson to Newcastle United. Now, it was with a heavy heart because it probably meant that Isak's going to go to Liverpool, which would be frightening and upsetting for all us rival fans out there. I'm just going to read on the Metro, which is citing from the Mail, I think. Newcastle United are interested in a deal to sign Chelsea striker Nico Jackson as a replacement for Alexander Isak. To be honest, guys, before I read on, they'd kind of do well to sign him anyway. They're in the Champions League, yeah. Even if they kept Isak, they're short. And there was talks that they would have had Ekitike and Isak. So they still need to buy another striker, in my opinion. Eddie Howe's side have ramped up plans to sign a new forward after Isak has told them he wants to leave St James's Park this window. Wow. Isak's been strongly linked with a move to Premier League champions Liverpool, who are believed to be plotting a massive offer for the Swede. Yuck. Newcastle are considering a number of players to replace Isak and have now added Jackson to their list of potential options. The Daily Mail can report. Jackson, who scored 10 Premier League goals in 30 games, which isn't awful, but considering it wasn't, in the most scintillating form. He's got 24 non-penalty goals in 2 seasons. So, 12 apiece, but no penalties. It's not bad. It's pretty good. I think everyone in football, we don't need to beat this dead horse again, but people with inside football will be like, yes, Jackson's a great player. He could be an even better player. He makes the attack better. He works really hard. He's a great young forward. He's worth a lot of money. So though Chelsea bought him for up 30 million on, it's believed Chelsea want 50 million. Surely it's more than that. So that is, I don't know. This must be the most of conservative estimates. Even though that would be a huge profit, he's worth more than Noni Madueke. So why do we sell him for £2 million less than Noni Madueke? Of course, he's contracted until 2033. He's already been here for 2 years. He's got 8 years left on his deal. It's a 10-year sentence. Double digits, mate. Just like he got him for goals in the Premier League. Right. Which clubs have been linked to Nico? Well, Juventus. They like him. Milan. So, two big Italian powerhouses. Who are playing Rafa Leao up front. That might be interesting in the front two. Nico and Rafa. As well as Aston Villa, which won't surprise anyone. We've spoken about that, of course. His former Villarreal manager is Unai Emery, who is at the helm at Villa, and they need him. Well, they haven't replaced John Duran, and Watkins might even leave, you know. Chelsea brought two new strikers this summer with Delap and Joao Pedro, of course, coming. That called into questions their plans for Jackson, who faces a lot of competition up front. So Newcastle are looking at the aforementioned Watkins, Johan Visser, and Benjamin Sesko, who will cost probably the most of them all. Benjamin Sesko, huge price tag, and supposedly huge wages, which is kind of rich for me, from a Leipzig striker who's still very young. Yeah, go and do well for 3 years, then go and get your pay rise, mate. You know, in like the Premier League for a big club somewhere. Maybe that's what like ultimately put Arsenal off. Johan Visser apparently is going to go on strike. Brentford, bro, are absolutely Donald Ducked because they're losing everyone. They've lost the manager, which is the most important loss. Replaced him with a set-piece coach. He might be good. I don't want to disrespect him. They lost their big gunman from last season in Burmo to Man United. And then to lose the guy who scored the most non-penalty goals in the league, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Johan Visser. It's awful because they don't need the money. They just milked Man United for £71 million for Burmo. £71 million. They got over 10 million quid for the manager compensation. They are. This is Brentford, by the way. They don't need in silly money. They've got silly money. Yes. So, yeah, they're screwed. But we're not talking about Brentford. We're talking about Chelsea. Jackson. I mean, there was briefings and headlines not long ago that we would demand 80 to 100 million pounds for him, not euros. I think we would want 80 million euros, which is about what, 60 something million pounds? Let me just see what that is. That is, oh, okay, it's basically 70 million pounds. So it's 79.9, it's about 10 less. So let's say 70 million euros. Yeah, I reckon 60 million pounds, so that's probably around 70 million euros. 50 million pounds just seems too low. It seems too low, even though it's a big profit and we've got other players now. Unless there's some weird sentiment that comes into it, which there absolutely shouldn't be. And we shouldn't be feeling too sentimental towards a guy who, out of the last 16 games, we've won 14 games, and the 2 games we lost is when he got sent off. I know he's young and it was a mistake, yada, yada, yada. But maybe they think, look, Nico, you've been important for us. These guys are in front of you now. We're going to make a big profit on you anyway. We're not going to price you out of a move. We're going to sell you for 50 million quid to Newcastle. In fact, we would rather Newcastle have you as their striker than Isak. Liverpool are already far away. I don't know, maybe. Maybe they've like played the 4D chess and they're like, yeah, you know what? Him going to Newcastle was fun. Although it has to be more than 50 million quid for me, personally. It really does. Because he makes Newcastle, or let's say, like I used to say, he makes Man United so much more better than Noni Madueke makes Arsenal. And we've just sold Noni Madueke to Arsenal for £52 million. So, all things considered, man, we need to, like, you know, sell him for the right amount of money. Personally, I think if you buy Nicholas Jackson for £60 million, you're still getting him for, like, what, £15 million less than Ekitike. And Ekitike's got less goals and assists in the last 2 seasons in a weaker league. And they're similar age. You're getting a much better deal. And I know, of course, the pitch is, you know, I've said it, it's been reiterated since by people, that when you buy Ekitike, you're buying a star striker, you're buying the jewel in the crown. When you're buying Jackson, you're buying seemingly the third choice striker, which, you know, doesn't put you in the strongest, demanding, negotiating position. But there is a middle ground. And for me, that middle ground is 60 million quid, 70 million euros, not 50 million pounds. So what do you think, guys? Let me know your thoughts. Keep them down there. Leave them down in the comment section. Oh, I'm going to go and try and get my neck warm and take more painkillers. Yeah, keep it locked. Of course, I'll be following all the stories. Thank you, as always, for supporting the content, for liking, the video and subscribing. Just to let you know, we're on 197,221 subscribers at time of recording. So yeah, man, we are very much creeping up on that 200,000 mark. So thank you very much for your support, as always, for subscribing. And I hope to see you back here soon. Peace!